Hello and welcome to Sam's on Wrestling. And I am Sam and I am joined by Baby Sam.
Hello there.
And this is a big one. This is a big one. This is our bracket series. It's our tournament style where we decide the best, the worst, the mediocre of a certain wrestling category. However, this is slightly different to normal. This is going to be the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. But I get what you're asking. How have we decided what the matches are? Well, guess what? We've already done a video as a qualification. If you've not seen it, go check it out. I'll put a card up here for you if you're on your laptop or whatever. But if not, go and check out what we decided was the greatest WrestleMania match from each WrestleMania. That was what we did last week. And essentially, the winner from each WrestleMania has become the qualifier. So there's going to be some matches that are not on the list.
There's going to be some mismatches as well, I
feel, yes, but there's matches that are missed out because, like, for example, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair is not on the list because we picked a better match from WrestleMania 24 as an example. So there are matches that aren't here because they're WrestleMania representative. At the end of the day, if you want the best match at your WrestleMania, you're not going to win overall, are you?
Exactly.
So that's what we're doing. We've got all 40 WrestleMania matches that we believe are the best ones ever. And we're going to do that. We have 8 prelim matches to get through, and then we can start our best 32. So first of all, let's go through a few of the little rules in a syndicate. First of all, Sam, I'm going to be leading this one because I know more about all the WrestleManias than you do. Yeah. So he has 5 vetoes. What it means by that is I have the final say on all decisions. However, if Sam really disagrees with one, he can veto my decision, and whoever he vetoes goes through automatically. He could do it 5 times. However, he cannot do it on the semi-final and the final. That is my decision, and you can't do it more than twice for the same thing. So you couldn't just take one match all the way through to the semi-final. Before we get into it, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And then let's find out, Sam.
Yes.
What is the greatest WrestleMania match of all time? Our first match in the prelims, but before we get into the prelims, we have done a random draw. Sam, why have we done a random draw?
Because if you seed them, you have already decided.
And we started off with a heavy hitter match. We've got WrestleMania's 20 main event, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Chris Benoit versus WrestleMania 35, Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan. This is really close. I know you like the triple threat match from 20.
It's a belter for me.
It really is a real belter. I personally think that Kofi and Bryan is better. And I have reasons, because I think it's technically a better match. I think there's so much going on. I think Bryan is immaculate in it. I think he's working Kofi fantastically. But the second reason is there's way more emotion. There's a better story as well, in my eyes, going into this, because I think the Benoit story and Shawn Michaels story ends about a month after the Rumble, and then they've got to kind of waste a month's time, whereas Kofi, it's a swell, it's a build. With the person we had a swell and a build with, I really think Kofi Mania is the thing that I would have go through here. And the triple threat has that annoying trope of take one out so we can have a one-on-one.
I get it. I do like the triple threat, and I think the fact that I got to experience Kofi Mania does also help. Because we were there, we talked about it all the time.
Yeah.
It was a really, really big moment. I think what helps Kofi, versus Bryan is the heel is very well suited to the whole story.
It's perfect, yeah.
Absolutely
the B+ player.
Exactly.
And the match is brilliant. I know the storyline makes a difference, but it really is about the match, and they are very, very even, I think, on the match.
One thing I also respect about Kofi versus Bryan is it ends after one finisher.
Yes, hooray!
We love that kind of thing. We love it. It was fantastic. And
I think the problem I have with the triple threat, because I think in reality Triple H could win this, but I think they have a better one at Backlash the month after anyway.
Yeah.
And that's a real problem for me.
They do in Toronto, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I'm like,
Montreal.
It's in Montreal. I was going to say it's Montreal. It's better. It's a better match.
Yeah.
It's tight. I'm thinking Kofi, Daniel, are you going to veto? Do you feel so strong? Because you do, I think I can sense you feel the triple threat more.
I think it's very 50-50 for me. I think it's harsh on both of these to draw each other.
In a
prelim. I don't feel strongly enough to veto. I don't know. I might, if you'd have said the triple threat, I might have vetoed the other way anyway. It's just one of those. I want to keep them both, but one has to go.
So
I won't argue.
Thank you, right. So going through is Kofi Kingston, Daniel Bryan from WrestleMania 35. And our second match, we have the Head Shrinkers versus the Steiners from WrestleMania 9, that amazing WrestleMania. versus The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 25.
Oh, it's a toughie.
Oh, I'm not
Yes.
sure. You might need a veto here, Sam.
Well, if you choose the wrong answer.
All I'm going to say is Scott Steiner does this amazing power slam while on. Generally, it's actually one of the best moves. Like, he's on the shoulders of one of the head shrinkers. The other head shrinker does a crossbody. Scott catches him in the crossbody while on the shoulders of the other one and power slams him off.
I've seen that.
It's a fantastic move. However, it's The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about that a little bit later on. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 25. I think pips the matches from WrestleMania 9 all combined. We now have The Rock and Austin from WrestleMania 15. 17 and 19 are not on the list. So, hilariously, their third, the worst one of the three is the match on this list. But it is the best match from WrestleMania 15 versus the Money in the Bank match from WrestleMania 24. That was an argument for me and you. That was the one we really couldn't decide on.
Yeah, that
Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, you wanted Edge and Undertaker.
I did.
And Money in the Bank 24 was me. Two things. I, first of all, believed that Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels was better than Undertaker and Edge. And then I had Money in the Bank, so that's why in my eyes it was the third best. You're an Edge mark. And
I also just like good wrestling. And Edge is the best. Undertaker's best.
Three world-class matches. I went and watched the Money in the Bank 24 match last night, Sam.
Did you?
I did indeed.
Is it as good as you remember?
But it is really no. I still have it as better than one. But in my eyes, it was so many moments from that. You've got the Shelton going through the ladder happens about halfway through. He's out of the match really early. Carlito's code-breaker from the top. Morrison's backflip with the ladder, and it opens, and you're like, oh my God, don't do that. It's going to kick. Matt Hardy's return, the crowd go mental. Absolutely mental. There's this folded ladder spot where the ladders are like this, and John Morrison's climbing on one, and then they fling him off, and he goes onto the ring. Oh, it's an amazing match, Sam.
I think any three of the ones we discussed at 24 would beat Rock versus Austin 1. For me.
I think so.
Yeah.
In my eyes, Rock versus Austin 1, it was the best match from WrestleMania 15, which was a really weak WrestleMania. I think it would have been really interesting if it was 19 or 17. I think they would have cleaned house against Money in the Bank 24. I think Edge and Undertaker, as well as Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels, would probably had beaten those. So we're going to go with the Money in the Bank match?
Yeah.
The Money in the Bank match, Rock and Austin. I actually can't remember a lot about it.
Other than finish.
Yeah, like tell the finish.
Mankind's referee.
Yeah.
Austin just stuns the Rock.
Yeah.
It's not complicated. It's fine. You want a clean win, and that's good. But yeah,
it's not. They become better. They become better. The Rock isn't there yet. He's not absolutely there yet. And then when he gets to 17, Rock is megastar. The 2-year difference from 15 to 17 is ridiculous. But yes, the Money in the Bank from WrestleMania 24 is going through. We have Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage from WrestleMania 5 and the Bulldogs versus the Dream Team from WrestleMania 2.
Oof.
Famously, WrestleMania 2, not great.
Not fantastic.
Not great. What was it like? Dud, -1 star, 2 stars, like one of the thing. It's like really bad.
And even for the live audiences, they got like a third of each show.
And then one of them really got screwed over. I think it was the Pipers one. I think they've just got nothing. It was the best match on the night. Let's not even discuss it any further. Hogan and Savage clearly is better, but it was nice for WrestleMania 2. Welcome to the bracket.
Yes.
You are here. I don't know if you're ever going to be in another brackets episode outside of us doing something has to be decided from every WrestleMania.
Yes, so welcome to the brackets, and technically you didn't even get in because you didn't get past the prelims.
Yeah.
But welcome to the prelims and goodbye from the prelims.
Hogan Savage, WrestleMania 5. Yeah. Brock Lesnar and Goldberg from WrestleMania 33 versus Demolition and Strikeforce from WrestleMania 4.
Well,
WrestleMania 4, Sam. Not a great WrestleMania. Have a tournament. Not a great tournament. Too many people. 16-man tournament.
In one night.
Or it's a 14-man tournament. Might be a 14-man. Yeah. Hogan and Andre might have took up a spot. And they're going, you should have gone with 8. Should have gone with 8. Yeah. Because not only did they have that tournament, they also had like 3 other matches on the card. They had a Battle Royal and they had this. And this was the match of the night. Strikeforce versus Demolition. Now, Sam, I also watched that last night.
Did you?
Yes.
You did a lot of research last night.
I did a lot of research just to make sure that I knew what was going on, but I didn't know it was going to be drawn against Brock and Goldberg, and it's not even close to Brock and Goldberg.
In the same breath.
I wish that the Strikeforce Demolition match was as short as this one. It was fine. Brock and Goldberg's going through. We'll talk about that a bit more.
Oh, certainly.
Yes, Brock and Goldberg beats Demolition versus Strike from WrestleMania 4. Hello, Strike at WrestleMania 4. Welcome. Once again, you will not be in any of the brackets episode outside of us talking about WrestleMania. Bye. We've got WrestleMania 1 now, and we went with Hogan and Mr. T versus Piper and Orndorff, obviously, versus WrestleMania 31, 30 years later, with Brock and Roman with the Seth cash-in. I really enjoyed the WrestleMania 1 tag match.
I haven't really seen it. I've seen some of the training videos. However, I'm going to go and guess and say this is not even remotely close.
No, but you know what? For one of these early ones it's getting, because we've obviously 2 destroyed, 4 destroyed. This is good fun. It's good fun. The crowd are mental. Hogan is over like Rover. Piper's over like Rover. Even Mr. T does a really decent job. So much so that they brought it back for WrestleMania 2, which they shouldn't have done. Well done for them. Without this match and without Cyndi Lauper, we might not even have a WWE right now.
Absolutely.
So do you know what? Fair play. However, the Brock-Roman match has no right to be sneezes.
I'm allergic to Mr. T.
I would be.
Yeah.
I pity the fool who sneezes in my video. I pity the fool. Brock and Roman had no right to be awesome.
No, not at that point.
Forget the cash-in, by the way. Their match is really good.
Absolutely bad. I'd say 5 stars, arguably.
I wouldn't go 5 stars. I'd go 3.5. But it was really good. Seth then cashes in, and we're on a completely different stratosphere. And the crowd goes mental. What? We weren't ready for it.
No, because it's never happened as a triple threat.
And Seth, because we thought maybe it might have been a cash-in afterwards, but to cash in during, genius. And this is why you're meant to do new things with the Money in the Bank. Like, this was probably the first time they did something new, because they'd already done the cash-in, beating up a broken champion, and then they'd done the cash-in of, I'm going to fight you later in my advantage, RVD. And then, they were all kind of the same.
Yeah.
Champion is always on the ground, I'm going to come in and cash in, pretty much the same, rinse and repeat. To join a triple threat match, brand new. And you know what? I'm going to argue, I don't think they've done much new since.
No, they did the triple threat with Drew when he failed, which is actually quite good.
Yeah, but
it's still the same thing as this.
I don't think they've done anything new. And I think there are so many things you could do. I don't quite get why they haven't done anything new. Really strange to me. However, it is better than the WrestleMania 1, but well done, WrestleMania 1. I don't know how much we're going to talk about you either. There's not much on the card bar the women's match and this tag match. Batista and The Undertaker at WrestleMania 23 versus probably the most surprising entrance on our list, Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania 38. It was the match of the night.
Well, I have a sickly feeling in my stomach that you're going to try and persuade me that Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn should win this.
I believe The Undertaker and Batista is one of the most underrated, best matches from a WrestleMania ever.
Thank you.
It is brilliant. It blows Shawn Michaels and John Cena out of the water, and that match is great. This match they both had a chip on their shoulder. They both went, why are we not main eventing?
Yeah.
Their story was equally as good as Cena's and Shawn Michaels.
Taker won the Rumble.
Taker won the Rumble as well, was that the first time that... No, Rey Mysterio the year before. Yeah. But again, I always hate when the Royal Rumble winner doesn't main event WrestleMania. It bugs me, even if the story's better. The story's not better here.
No, the story's
not better.
No.
You just wanted to crown Cena in that main event after he already failed the year before to be crowned because the crowd hated him in Chicago because it's Chicago. But no, Johnny Knoxville, Sami Zayn genuinely is how you do a celebrity match with someone who doesn't wrestle. We talk about celebrities, and we've done a ANA series on celebrities. I mean, it might have come out by now, and we were talking about the idea of some celebrities not fitting in. Johnny Knoxville fits in perfectly, and they took his gimmick and played it perfectly. And Sami Zayn, is he one of the most greatest versatile wrestlers of all time?
Yeah, I think he's kind of not in the same way, but the Mick Foley of his time in terms of character work. He's very selfless, and he's able to get anyone else over and anything over, really. And
he didn't look weak winning a match to Johnny Knoxville. Unbelievably didn't look weak. And even though the finish didn't quite work, it was still a great idea. And the whole thing was just so much fun. But yes, I think Batista Undertaker is just so brilliant. They literally fight lumps out of each other.
Yeah, great rivalry.
Big power moves. The rivalry then goes on. It was brilliant. I've got Batista Undertaker.
As have I.
Very good. There you go. Batista Undertaker is going through to the first round. Diesel and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 11. And Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 21.
Well,
Shawn versus Shawn.
Well, this is open and closed, isn't it?
Yes. Hello, WrestleMania 11. Bye, WrestleMania 11. Now, we always do the top half first, get through to the finals, and then do the bottom half and get through to the final then. So, our first round match is Charlotte and Becky and Sasha from WrestleMania 32 versus Kofi and Daniel Bryan from WrestleMania 35. This is a tight one for me.
This is a tight one.
Because I do think that women's match is really, really, really good. But is that women's triple threat as good as the WrestleMania 20 triple threat? I think the finish is what ruins it. But I think this is the best women's match of WrestleMania history up till that point.
Oh, I was going to say Bianca and Sasha.
It stole the show at 32. They just waltzed in, smashed it out of the park, and waltzed out. And everyone went, women's wrestling, book it every year, please.
Yeah.
And they have, and it's been some unbelievable matches. And you've already mentioned we've had some incredible matches since.
Yeah. It helped that a lot of men were injured, so you had a lot less big marquee matches. So
everyone was injured.
So they got more time and
more
they
spotlight
because they were probably one of the 3 or 4 biggest matches on the card.
And they ended up being the best just by so far.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you got Kofi and Daniel kind of, ironically, took the spotlight away from the women when they were spotlighted in WrestleMania 35. Very strange.
They're going to do it again.
You're going to go with Kofi?
In my opinion, I think Kofi I think because you can look at each match, they're similar quality, but think of the contrast in finishes.
Yeah, to me, I think they are equal till the finish. I have them really tight. I think they both tell equal, similar story. Kofi's is a bigger story, I think, but the idea of the women spotlighted is equally as a bigger story, and it felt big on the night, Lita presenting the title and all that jazz. But yeah, great, amazing spots here. The Sasha Frog splash spots while everything was happening. I think they were within the figure 8 at the time, weren't they? I think.
Yes.
It was really, really, really good. It's Ric Flair's involvement. It just hurts it. Now, don't get me wrong, we like interference, we like heels getting involved, but it's creepy and weird, and it makes me uncomfortable, and I didn't like it. So yeah, let's go with it. Who would have thought it? Kofi and Daniel Bryan is going to go through to the next round. The Triangle Ladder match from WrestleMania 16, WrestleMania 2000 versus Triple H and Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30. Where'd you go there?
That's really hard.
Oh my god, you can't compare. The last one we were able to kind of compare. You can't compare here. You have to go a different route. The brain has to go away from I prefer ladder matches or I prefer single matches. You have to try and be as objective as you can in terms of themselves. Let's start with the triangle ladder match. But let's be fair. It's the third best of the 3 they had in that year.
But that is not the question. The question is...
I know. But we have to take that into consideration that they went bigger and better. That so much so that there are so many spots from this match that have been either forgotten or made even bigger. Because in the spot... and this is the problem. You're going to do this and you go, which one am I going to get it confused? Because I won't get it confused with TLC 2. I'll never confuse it with TLC 2. But I think there's the both hanging from the...
kicking each other, yeah.
Kicking each other. That's Devon getting all scared. Jeff does his first Swanton bomb. Bubba's the one who goes through the tables on the outside. That's not SummerSlam 1, I don't think.
No, but the finish is just incredible, this one. This might be the best finish.
Yeah, explain
because you have the 2 ladders and then they put a table across. Which is so risky. They put a table. No one's holding those ladders.
No one's placed the table and gone, right, that table's not moving. They're not hooked it on or anything.
Exactly. So that table's there. It could easily break if you stand on it. And then Matt's standing on the table in between these 2 ladders, standing up, about to go and get the belts.
Flips
and
off.
Then Edge and Christian come on, literally just go bang. He just flips off, as you said.
And he nails that, because it looks gnarly, the flip off.
But he does land it pretty perfectly. And then Edge and Christian just stand on top holding the titles on this table on the ladder. And you also have to say, it's the 3rd best, but it's the first time we'd ever seen something like this.
Yeah, that's the other thing as well. It's a very, very weird one, this one, because then you got Triple H and Daniel Bryan, which is regarded as the greatest, if not at the very least, joint or second best opening match in WrestleMania history.
I think I made my mind up. And I love Triple H, Daniel Bryan. I personally would go the Triangle Ladder match.
It's so funny, because I personally think it's Triple H and Daniel Bryan.
Go on, persuade
Isn't that it? Well, I just think that without this, the story at the end of the night isn't as big a deal. Triple H and Daniel Bryan, first of all, their chemistry is unbelievable. Yeah. It's Triple H's last great match as well.
Sting?
No. That's fun. Great.
No,
I'm saying
great, yeah.
Great. That's fun, but it's shortcuts and Sting can't work the same extent anyway, because he's and then Bray wrestles for another 9 years. Yeah. What? What do you mean you're diving off things? The chemistry between them is fantastic. They're flawless. Daniel Bryan playing the babyface who's being beaten down, getting injured, Triple H attacking him at the end. It was Daniel Bryan winning with the knee, and then later on with the tap out. It sets up the night so perfectly that if Daniel Bryan had beaten Triple H at, like, say, No Way Out with the same match and then just did the triple threat and win, I don't think the win means as much, even though it would have meant a lot, wouldn't mean as much without this singles match happening. And I think this single match is immaculate. It's
but the finish for the tables.
I'm going Triple H Daniel Bryan. It's now down to you.
I'll go Triple H Daniel Bryan.
Wow! I thought you said you weren't going to be swayed.
Yeah, I always say that. Same thing happens. No, I get it.
I love this match so much.
I know.
It's so good. And don't forget the monster.
I think what
intro.
Exactly. No, agreed. And what I'm saying, I think I'm going to say it's a draw for me, and I'm not going to veto. Therefore, if you'd have said the triangle ladder match, I wouldn't have changed it.
I do think the thing about the triangle ladder match is it's so good, but then they top it so much in TLC that I actually think a lot of this is forgotten. And I think if you've been a forgotten great match, which is impressive, could you imagine being a forgotten world-class ladder match? I think that's how good it is, because I think their SummerSlam one is wow. Go and watch the SummerSlam one. People don't watch that one enough.
No.
This one's the second most watched. But then obviously they then TLC 2 and went, watch this.
Yeah.
So that's how I go about it. We'll see how TLC 2 gets on later. Wow, it's not getting any easier. Undertaker versus Triple H, WrestleMania 28, the Hell in the Cell. And Undertaker Shawn Michaels at 25. Sam?
I love the end of an era match, even though it wasn't an end of any era, but I love that match with all my heart. But it will not be this one.
You know my answer to this. It's very obvious for you, because I don't like the Undertaker Shawn Michaels referee Triple H match in Hell in a Cell. I don't think it's that great.
I love it. I think it's art. I think it's cinema. I think it's bloody delicious.
Do you know the funny thing is, the fact that it was comfortably the match of the night. Comfortably. We didn't even discuss it on the last one.
No, but
it was comfortably match of the night. Nothing came close to it. Nothing came close to this. At all. But I don't like it. I don't like how much stopping and starting is happening. I don't like how much lying down. I don't like the fact that Shawn's going, Undertaker, you need to quit, and it's been like 7 seconds into the match. And then later Undertaker's fine. And Triple H is
he's an Undertaker, he has regenerated powers, he sits up. We know this about the Undertaker.
Yeah, but it's the fact, if we know this about the Undertaker, then Shawn shouldn't be going, Undertaker, you're going to go, don't ring the bell.
Because he hits him over the head with a sledgehammer. He literally
Don't
got
ring
his
the bell,
sledgehammer
Shawn.
and just went bang on his head.
I don't. After this was steel chairs first, that got to that. I don't like this match.
Well, you're wrong.
I find it genuinely quite boring until the amazing kick
It's
out.
almost good for you that this has come against Shawn and Undertaker WrestleMania 20. I could happily veto this against something else.
Undertaker Shawn Michaels at 25. Can we talk about the fact that there was pretty much zero rivalry going into this, which I think makes a difference here. I think is a thing that people don't talk about enough, because the match is brilliant. It is so world class. But there is problems in this match that people don't want to discuss, and there is the rivalry going into it isn't much. Can you explain to me what is the rivalry
I'll
going
tell you
into
exactly,
25?
I was watching religiously.
So let's tell the fans.
So Shawn Michaels had just gotten out of being kind of owned by JBL, and that was a whole thing. And then
which was, let's be honest, a terrible storyline.
Yes, but then what happened is Shawn had a match with JBL because one of them wanted to face the Undertaker, so Shawn won that. And then it was like he's going to face the Undertaker, but no, now he has to face Kozlov. Because, and I get it, because Kozlov had beaten Undertaker on SmackDown, so it made sense.
On a random SmackDown. So Shawn Michaels wants to beat the Undertaker at WrestleMania, but Undertaker, he just lost to Vladimir Kozlov.
I think it's fair to give Kozlov the shot. But
no, I agree,
Michaels,
but it's like, it's just be Undertaker on something. Who cares? There's the SmackDown.
But Michaels beat Kozlov, and that was one of Kozlov's first big losses. And then Michaels beat him, and then it's like, right, I'm going to face the Undertaker. And then it became a thing of, well, I'm Mr. WrestleMania, and you've got the streak, which is great. And then it became a bit of a religious thing, and angelic versus satanic kind of thing.
Do you see what I mean, though? Hell. Everything you're saying there,
Yeah, but right here's the counter argument, because the story going into it wasn't that great. What I think it actually works perfectly that the story wasn't that hot going in, because then this match out of nowhere seems like it organically just creates a story in itself. A whole storyline, what we've ranked as our favourite feud ever, comes organically from this match, because the match was so brilliant and Shawn so nearly won. He wasn't as obsessed with it this time. He just thought, well, I'm going to beat The Undertaker. But then because the match was so brilliant and he came so close, he became obsessed with it, turned down a dark path, and had to beat The Undertaker next year, put his career on the line.
Do you know what the crazy thing about this match was? People had expectations for it, but no one had the expectations of this, because Undertaker had a great match with Batista, as we discussed. He had a great match with Edge, but they were great matches. This is like world class, put it against any match that's ever happened in Japan or anything like that. That's how good this match was from a match standpoint. There are other issues we'll get into probably a bit later on. But that's the fascinating thing. The reason the swell happened is because it was like, you guys are just putting on a clinic, and it got better and bigger and bigger. So much so that Triple H and Randy Orton couldn't do anything. They were screwed. Even if they had a great match, which they didn't, let's be honest, they shut the bed. But if they had a great match, they still would have struggled. I don't like the Undertaker Triple H match anyway, so even if it was against somebody mediocre or medium, well, there's no mediocre on here now, let's be honest, I probably wouldn't have voted for it, but it's against Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. So Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, it's going through to the next round. We move on to WrestleMania 34. Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey versus Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon is on this list. And Hogan Ultimate Warrior from WrestleMania 6. First of all, let's start with Hogan and Ultimate Warrior. That had no right to be as good as it was.
It was very good.
Two people who, let's be honest, one who can't work, and one who was...
Warrior.
You meanie.
Oh, I'm sorry, don't be mean to Hulk Hogan.
Well, in terms of wrestling ability, he's a solid 3.5 out of 10.
I know.
But yeah, one who can't work and one who barely could work, I'm going to say, let's be honest. People go, oh, have you seen him in Japan? Yeah. And that one will get bleeped.
I'm not allowed to say that word. You're using the rock privileges.
Yes.
Yeah, to say what you want.
But the match was great. It worked really well. They played perfectly to their strength. They clearly must have worked on it for months. At least a month. They clearly must have worked on it. I could be wrong. I can't see them calling it in the ring. Hogan just cannot let someone have a spotlight. I've lost. I must cry. Here's the title.
No, not just that. He has to kick out a 3.1.
Oh, yeah, that was the other thing as well. I mean, it is a splash.
No, but just put him over.
Yeah, I know. It's just... It's stupid. How good was Kurt Angle, Ronda Rousey, Triple H? If you want to ever debut a person who's not a wrestler, you've got a couple of weeks to... Actually, both of these matches must have had a couple of weeks to work out what they were going to do. Ronda looked like a megastar. It's sad how it kind of ended and went with her. Mainly her second run. Her first run's good.
She's not a great person.
But she's not a great human being. But this match is fantastic.
Yeah.
Her squaring up to Triple H twice got enormous pops. And by the way, fair play to Triple H. He gets criticised for not putting people over, and he didn't. He picked and chose. You can't put everyone over, by the way. If you put everyone over, then you won't be over yourself.
You are Zack Ryder.
You are, yeah, exactly. You know, the ones, Booker T and RVD, they're the two, and maybe Kane in 2002 and 3. He probably should have put over. But he put over Ronda so strong because he looked weak to her, effectively. It was like, they square, he's like laughing, and then he's like, oh God. Brilliant. Steph's perfect in this match.
Yeah.
She plays the villainous heel. It's about time that she got her comeuppance, and she was able to get her comeuppance. Kurt is fine. He doesn't look great.
No,
Kurt
he doesn't.
looks not great. But this match genuinely should have main evented WrestleMania 34. I don't care. It was the match everyone wanted to watch. It's the match everyone wanted to see, and it delivered. But maybe because it was in the town where nights were lasting 8 hours, because it came about hour 1 in, the crowd were ready for it. If it come hour 4,
yeah. Also,
the crowd would have been asleep.
I'm not having Stephanie McMahon main event of WrestleMania when Shinsuke and AJ Styles are down the card. I'm not saying that match was good.
It didn't even main event
but
anyway.
I will not live in that universe.
It was Brock Roman
No,
again.
I know, which made sense because But anyway,
are we agreeing that the Angle Rousey match beat Hogan and Warrior?
I genuinely might say Hulk and Warrior.
Really?
Yeah.
Over that?
I think the crowd more into it.
I am telling you now.
It's Stephanie McMahon, so I can't do
I'm
it.
telling you now, I've got Rousey and Angle. Triple H.
I can't put Stephanie McMahon through.
So you have to veto it because I'm going with that.
In the name of the game of just hating Stephanie McMahon as a character and just not liking Ronda as a person. Oh, but then Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior.
I was about to say, they're not great.
Oh,
what
do I do? Oh, God.
What's the best match? Not the best person. What's the best match?
I'll do it, fine, have it, but it's going out the next round, whoever it is. I don't care if JTG's in the next round.
It's Undertaker Shawn Michaels.
Oh, okay.
Undertaker Triple H from WrestleMania 27 and the Money in the Bank from WrestleMania 24. Sam, I don't like the Undertaker Triple H match from WrestleMania 27 either.
I know you don't. You like it more than 28, which is
I do. I actually think it's better.
I think it's a lovely story, the fact that Taker gets carried out and that Triple H decimates him.
Obviously, it's still the best match of 27, which admittedly is not hard, so we can't make the argument of that. But you know why I've got a problem with it. It's just shortcut city everywhere. The match, when they get in the ring, is really good. This is really the first time that kickouts become a real massive problem. Is it here? There's kickouts galore everywhere. And it's Undertaker being carried out is really good. I like that. But literally, they go out of the ring within 20 seconds. And you're just like, guys, you're better than that. if you're going out in the ring and doing walking balls and doing all that stuff, you're better than that. I like the fact they destroyed the coal mine. Triple H took a terrible bump through a table. It was like, boop, boop.
Oh, the backdrop. Oh, yeah, that was horrible. That.
But yeah, for me, I like the Money in the Bank 24. I actually think it's one of the best Money in the Bank matches ever, if not the best. Some would disagree, but I think even me, who hates the Undertaker Triple H match at WrestleMania 27. I hate it. I don't like it. I think it's actually not very good. I don't like any of their matches at WrestleMania. I don't like any of them. See my controversial take, I'll put it up here. It's a controversial take of Undertaker and Triple H. I really don't like the matches, but even I have to admit that it's better than the Money in the Bank match.
This is why I don't understand you, Sam. Because you fought so much to have this Money in the Bank match over Michaels versus Flair and Edge versus Undertaker.
I would say that Undertaker Triple H is better than those two.
I don't. I think those two are better than Triple H versus The Undertaker. I like Triple H versus The Undertaker. No. What is with... Okay, well, I would also say Triple H versus The Undertaker.
It's definitely better than Shawn Michaels Flair. That has the emotion, but the match is a good match.
I think Edge versus Undertaker is better than this one. Well, Edge versus Undertaker is slept on, including by you as well. But...
No, I loved that match.
We are going to disagree and yet agree to put The Undertaker versus Triple H through.
Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 19 versus Undertaker and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 26.
Oh. Where do you go?
I think there is only one winner for one reason. Brock doesn't hit the shooting star press.
So you think because of that it's Michaels Undertaker?
I think these two matches are on par with each other all the way through. I love Shawn at the end, essentially going, just do it effectively. End it. Fighting to the bitter end is fantastic. Fair play to Brock and Angle for finishing their match, because neither of them are there.
Kurt thought he was going to have to pin him.
And have to stay there for another month, even though he's broken himself. I watched that match back about 2 or 3 years later when I understood what Kurt went through, because I was only, I was 11 at the time, so he didn't really get it. And you watch it and you wince.
Yeah.
If Brock had hit the shooting star press, which by the way is a big moment itself, him not hitting it, if he'd have hit that, I think this conversation would be easy. But I think I have to give it to The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels solely because of that. But good, by God, I love that Brock Angle match. That German suplex that Brock takes as a front bump just shows you what a freak Brock was.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Of that size.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, this was an incredible match. I feel bad taking it out, but I think Undertaker Shawn does it.
Can I tell you something now at this point, at this juncture in the juncture?
Please, you feel free to tell me things at any time.
And it might be for later. I'm just going to let you know this now.
Sure.
I prefer WrestleMania 26 to WrestleMania 25.
Well, we're going to fall out, aren't we?
I'm just throwing that out.
Fall out a lot.
Just throwing that out there.
No.
Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair from WrestleMania 37 and Hogan Savage from WrestleMania 5. Better story, better match. Where do you go?
I'd go Bianca and Sasha.
I would as well. Now, I like the Hogan Savage match. And by the way, it is still to this day one of the best told stories in wrestling. I don't think much have touched it, to be honest. A whole year being friends, Savage getting slowly jealous of Hogan as a person, and in terms of Liz. Then Hogan carries Liz off when Liz gets hurt and injured. Savage attacks him in the back, look raw and gritty. Savage changes. Remember, Savage is the world champion, so a babyface turned into a heel. I can only think of Punk that did that. It's really, really special. The match is Hogan at WrestleMania. That's the problem with the match. It's good, but I think Sasha and Bianca really just nail it. When people say Sasha can't work, they're an idiot, right? Her criticism is justified in some places, but not in others. She doesn't deserve hate at all. Her in-ring work, when she's with somebody who is equal or better than her, she will put on a great match every time.
Yeah.
Every single time.
This is absolutely fantastic match. This made Bianca Belair a real
megastar.
Yeah.
The carry into the ring that they tried to recreate with Chris Statlander and failed. They carry into the ring from the ring steps. That's the moment everyone remembers in my eyes from WrestleMania 37. That's the moment that people remember. Because they don't, apart from maybe Stackham and Pinham at the Triple Threat.
37,
you know, they remember
that
the pin.
Great.
That's the two visuals, and then the two main events. So well done. But that's the visual I have every single time. And do you know what? Bianca and Sasha, they had chemistry. I could have watched them many, many, many times. Yeah, I'm gutted we didn't see them many times. But this, when a WrestleMania main event makes you a megastar, as well as not making Sasha look weak either. You can't go. I have to admit, Hogan Savage, best. I think when we do maybe best storylines of WrestleMania, that'll be a thing we'll do. That will definitely be a push. Oh, that's a really good one. I haven't written that down. Best storylines of WrestleMania. We'll do that one year. But Sasha and Bianca, still maybe controversial that one. Our final match of the top half. It's TLC 2 versus Randy Savage and Ultimate Warrior. There's only a clear winner, but let's talk about the other one.
Sure. TLC 2.
Savage lets Ultimate Warrior hit him with 5. Gets hit by 5 elbow drops, and then Warrior kicks out and beats him.
Yeah.
And you're there going, oh, that made Savage look well weak. He's like, Savage booked the match. It was Savage's idea.
I suppose Savage is going, well, I'm going out so I can look as weak as I want.
I am leaving, and the Elizabeth spot is about to happen, which is included in this because it's part of the whole thing. And I know the Elizabeth spot's coming, and everyone was so happy. They cried. It's one of the best moments in wrestling. It is one of the best moments in wrestling. But TLC 2 beats this, and we'll talk about that a bit later on. Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah.
TLC 2 wins. We're into the last 16 of the top half. We've got Kofi Kingston, Daniel Bryan, and Triple H, Daniel Bryan.
Oh, Bryan.
Bryan versus Bryan. 2 great stories, 2 great matches. I think these are equal in story, and I think these are equal in match. So the question is, where do you hedge? Which one are you connected to? Which one would you re-watch, I think, here?
I think I'd rather rewatch the Triple H one.
I think I'd rather rewatch the Triple H one.
Yeah, and I think I loved the Kofi thing at the beginning, but Kofi winning was great. Daniel Bryan was more of a seismic shift in the company.
Yes,
the fact that Daniel Bryan was getting to win this, we hadn't seen a fan surge like that before.
And do you know what? It was a weird one, right? I'm going to throw this out there. Now, I'm talking small percentages here. Because we can't talk about the seismic shift in terms of it, because it's the match.
Yeah, it's context.
But there's a feeling. But I think pretty much every single person knew Kofi was winning. And with Daniel Bryan, we're 100% sure. We were all going, we are 99% sure. But I don't trust you, Vince, and I don't trust you, Triple H, to not do the Evolution triple threat match. And it was always in everyone's mind. I think we were all going, Bryan's winning this, obviously. But you
had that bit of doubt, which is the magic of it.
You weren't sure. We're talking like minuscule, teeny tiny bit of doubt. And I'm talking like, it's 99%. We really are like, Bryan's winning. Bryan's winning, right? It was that. So that's what tips it for me between these two. But I tell you what, I can't really pick a winner here.
Yeah, it's hard, but I would go Triple H Bryan.
Triple H Bryan goes through to the quarterfinals. To take a Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 25 versus Angle and Rousey and Triple H and Steph. Sam, would you like to veto? Because I'm picking Angle and Rousey. And
you're going to use them a veto? Tactical.
Undertaker, Shawn Michaels and WrestleMania 25.
Absolutely.
Yes, we might not be talking about this properly for a while. It's going to happen at some point because he's going to be on this list a lot. Undertaker, Triple H from WrestleMania 27. Undertaker and Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 26.
Oh.
Well, I have a clear winner.
No, I have a clear winner, but it's just interesting to see
these two against each other.
Yeah, but I think when you look at it, because people say it's like a 4-part story.
Yes.
I think a lot of people will kind of go, I would go, like 25 and 26 are better than 27 28.
100%.
Yeah,
I don't even think it's close.
No.
I don't even think it's
close.
So
I think it is.
Yeah, we'll have to go through it.
I mean,
as I said, if there was a better match at WrestleMania 27, I don't think I would have picked Undertaker Triple H anyway. We would have had an argument, but literally it's one of the worst WrestleManias ever where there's not even a single other good match. You have to go to was it Punk Orton that night?
Yeah, that was decent.
It was probably the second best match, and it was like a throwaway mid-card match where they did the standard RKO off a jump. It's like, how disappointing is that? So Undertaker Shawn Michaels from 26 is going through. Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair versus TLC 2. TLC 2? Yeah, Sasha and Bianca, fantastic match, but you can't compete with one of the greatest, I'm going to say it, one of the greatest gimmick matches, and I mean not the TLC concept, this TLC match. It's one of the greatest gimmick matches of all time. Undertaker Mankind Hell in a Cell is the only one that I would put equal to it on Triple H Cactus Jack Royal Rumble 2000, and then I'm like, those are my 3. I may have missed one not thinking, but those are my 3 that are like, those 3 are the greatest gimmick performance matches of all time. And Sasha and Bianca was so good. I'm glad it's got this far because it was such an underrated match. But TLC 2 went going through. We're into the quarterfinals of the top half. We've got Triple H and Daniel Bryan from WrestleMania 30 and The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 25. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 25.
Yes.
Yes, it's a little bad story going into this. And there is a problem in the match that I think cannot be ignored. But in the grand scheme of things, it's better than the Triple H Daniel Bryan match. If you had to pick which match you're going to go back and watch, you're picking that one. So we're going to go with Undertaker and Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 25. It's through to the semi-finals. Right, now. Undertaker Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 26. TLC 2. Let's discuss TLC 2. Because we haven't discussed TLC 2 at all yet, because it's just breezed past its opponents. It has 9 competitors in a 6-person match. They all had a third person who could get involved.
Well, they all did a really cool spot.
And they all did such a cool spot, and were over like Rover.
Your favourite phrase?
Why did Lita have to take her top off? But whatever. Yeah. But, and then get 3D'd. The chair shot she did to Spike was so mean.
God.
Bubba and Matt going through the tables is the greatest table spot in history because the tables disintegrate.
Yeah,
they're so perfectly broken. It's so beautifully broken. It's like, that is so nice. Edge and Christian still look like dastardly heels. Jeff Swanton again is high as anything. It's so high.
It's a spear off the ladder for me.
And then that's what I was building to. One of the most famous, if not the most famous spot in wrestling history. The spear off the ladder, which Edge gave us himself a DDT. Did he get a concussion from that? I can't remember if he did either.
I've not heard that.
But like Jeff's crumple physics is the best. They had already recreated this before, I will point out, but this is on the global stage. Undertaker Shawn Michaels at 26.
It's artistry. It's just magnificent.
It's actually more flawless than the first one.
I disagree.
I said flawless, not better.
Well, do you mean better or flawless? Because we're ranking the best.
Flawless means they've not made a mistake, Sam.
Yeah, but I think the botch with the cameraman actually added to the match.
I still think it's a horrible botch that makes me uncomfortable, and it's actually Undertaker's fault.
No, I agree. I'm not disputing that.
This is the other thing, is like the camera's like, Undertaker over-rotates massively.
Well, also Shawn kind of places him quite far away.
Yeah.
But that aside, I think the actual botch itself added to it because you have... Obviously, I know they were going for the count-out spot.
You can't go, this botch adds it to it.
You have not allowed me to finish my sentence. This botch, because I will protect this and die on its hill, right. The botch, the fact that he landed so awkwardly and thankfully, wasn't hurt enough to not be able to do a phenomenal match, it created that count-out spot where everyone had that shocking moment and then Undertaker was back in it. I think that massively added to the match.
I don't know if that was... I don't know if that was a plan, but it was a good. If it wasn't a plan, it was an audible. It was a great audible to cover what was, quite frankly, a dangerous botch. That could have ended in a broken neck and Undertaker be dead.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm not disputing that. 100%. I'm just going with the results.
That's WrestleMania 25, and we're talking about 10 and 26.
No, I know, because you tried to say. Okay, are you going to argue 26 over TLC?
No.
Right.
I've got TLC 2 all the way.
Have you?
Yeah, I really do.
I love WrestleMania 26, the match.
Which has a considerably better storyline than WrestleMania 25 was.
One of the best storylines in the match.
Considerably better ever. If we were doing storylines at WrestleMania 25, it doesn't even get in. It's not even in the best. Like when we do because that'll be Orton and Triple H has the best storyline of that WrestleMania. But,
I think I'd go TLC 2. I kind of wanted to have the face-off of Shawn and Taker. We can almost say which we think is better anyway.
Which is ironic. I'm glad we're not, because you get really angry because it's my decision. And I'm telling you now, I prefer 26 to 25.
Semi-final, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, TLC 2's through. TLC 2's through. There we go. Get it in.
We're into the semi-final of the top half of the draw. It's not getting any easier. It's Undertaker Shawn Michaels at 25. And it's TLC 2.
Pretty mad.
Sam, convince me your favourite. Because I got the decision. You've got no veto here. You haven't used a veto once, actually. I'll point out.
No, I nearly did.
Yeah. But
so it's
convince me your favourite.
It's Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 25. For me. In my opinion, and it is only opinion and nothing more, nothing less, it is the best match in wrestling history. Now, some bias from me. I was 9 years old watching it at the time. So there's that bias, but I think that if you ask a lot of people the best wrestling match of all time, I think nearly 50% are going to say this match. I really do. And I don't think you're going to get anyone saying TLC 2. People love it. It's a wonderful match, a very different style of match.
Yeah, but yes,
to
what's the
watch.
best match? I don't think people name a gimmick match.
Well, exactly, but we're ranking what's the best WrestleMania match.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They go, when you say name the best match, people name a match. When I say match, a one-on-one. But I think if you actually open that up, people would start including things like TLC 2.
Here's what I think, and TLC 2, I adore it. I'm not trying to take away from it, but I'm going to a little bit in what I'm about to say. This match, TLC 2, is more easily replicated than Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels.
That's a very, very good point. You were losing a battle there.
You can replicate that with a lot of different people and get a similar result. I'm not taking away what they...
You couldn't, because these six are the most over tag teams in the history.
I'm talking about wrestling in terms of having high spots.
No, I know, but it's the same principle of having high spots, but some people have done the high spots. Take AEW, the amount of high spots they do, and no one...
I agree.
No one reacts to some of their high spots. These six lads were so over and so beloved and so cheered that they were even doing simple high spots, and it was just a reaction that you've never heard of before.
Agreed. Absolutely agree. But we're looking at the match.
Can I tell you something that I think is really interesting, right?
Go on.
When most non-wrestling fans go, show me a match. Come on, show me. Get me into wrestling. Every single person shows them Undertaker Mankind. We all agree, right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, the second match, and sometimes the first match that people show, is TLC 2. I'm telling you that now. That is the one match they show. And if you ask me which match I have re-watched more, it is TLC 2 by a considerable margin. And I have to admit that I think the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels match, we're talking the best of the best here. We're talking 9.9s out of 10s and 10s out of 10s and even 11s out of 10s. These guys are all like gone far beyond. And there's no wrong answer here. But I think this is one of those ones where it was so amazing that it then became the, you're not going to knock this off the top spot. We're not even having a conversation type spot. And I do think we have to be wary of that. Because I personally think the 26 match is better. Just throwing that out there already. I really, really do. I think the storyline's better. I think the emotion's better. I think they play into that. And I think these guys at 25, the match is so good that they build almost an internal storyline within the match, because I don't think there is one going in. I really don't. I just think they just nailed their performance. TLC 2 is the culmination of these six over the course of a year and a half, if not 2 years in some cases. Matt and Jeff and Edge and Christian had their ladder match in 99, which put them on the map. So we were talking about Shawn Michaels. This had 2 years of build to the moment on the biggest stage, and I know it would make a difference, but the biggest stage, and they went, we are giving you the most minutes equal to Angle Benoit doing a wrestling clinic and the main event. This isn't like the Money in the Bank matches, which is just a feature on the show. This one just like, oh, here's our spot fest for the night. This is the semi-main event, and Triple H and Undertaker is not the semi. This is the semi-main event. Sam, I'm going to tell you this now. I genuinely believe that TLC 2 is just behind The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels for the better match.
Oh, Sam, thank you.
But...
Wow, what are you doing? What are you doing? Sam, don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
So I'm trying to do the X Factor.
Yeah.
The reason that it's just pipped for me is because... Undertaker winning.
Okay.
You tool.
No, because you said but. So, okay, I assumed you were going to say...
But the reason I don't... Because I prefer...
You called me a tool.
Yeah. I prefer TLC 2. I think TLC 2 is actually weirdly more entertaining, but to be able to craft a match without gimmicks being needed to this extent is what puts this slightly over. And I have to admit, I'm in pain doing it because you know me, I will go with myself more than anything else. But what you said about recreating high spots, I think just about edges it for me. Not because you're not fully right, because I think you can do the same high spots with the same wrestlers, and these guys will get cheered, and these guys won't.
Agreed.
And this was the first time all this stuff was happening as well, so we have to bear that in mind. We talked about the triangle ladder match. This is the same principle. But no, not many people can recreate this, because as I said, there's no story. Not really. There's I want to beat Undertaker at WrestleMania. That's it. That's the story. Let's be honest here. There is no story. Kozlov's involved, for God's sake. There is no story. And these guys went, no, we'll still put the best match on that everyone will remember for the rest of time. Could you imagine if they had the 26 story and this was the match? Oof.
Yeah, but you have to, for the 26 story, you've had to have had the first
No.
match.
I'm saying, like, this match is just, if it had more story,
Yeah.
I think this would be blown out the water. So, begrudgingly, I am changing my mind and I'm putting The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 25 through to the final, and nobody is shocked that I've done that. Now, Sam, we've got to deal with the bottom half of the draw. We're going to go all through it again.
Blame me. Right.
We start off with the Firefly Funhouse versus Brock and Goldberg at WrestleMania 33. Work that out. 2 matches that are different to every match on here, and whatever. Where'd you go there?
Funhouse for me.
Really comfortable. I tell you what, it's closer than you think.
Yeah, no, it's close.
You know how much I love the Firefly Funhouse.
I do.
I think, and I hate the word cinema, because it's been overused, and wrestling fans, particularly WWE fans, to be honest, have overused it. Me included. This was cinema, because it's John Cena at his best.
Yeah.
And John Cena at his self-awareness, as it were. I think this is, I say it's a match, there's a move, but it's so entertaining. And it's not a triple threat taken out, Sam, so it's fine.
It's alright this time.
Brock and Goldberg is the greatest under 5-minute match of all time. But we kind of thought that sort of match was going to happen. They just nailed that version of it.
Yeah.
They showed you how you do it.
Yeah.
And people are trying to recreate it since, and it doesn't work because we've seen it once. So, Firefly Funhouse?
Funhouse for me. Yeah.
Funhouse is going through. Oh, contrasting styles going on here. And generation in both, actually. Edge and Mick Foley's hardcore match from WrestleMania 22, and Roddy Piper and Bret Hart from WrestleMania 7. Just picked out Savage and Flair. We had a big discussion about that. It was really, really tight. I think this is a comfortable Edge and Foley one.
Yeah, it would be both.
It's a star-making match. They literally, as we literally talked about TLC too, you can recreate these same moves with other people. You could have that same argument, but I don't think you can because of who Foley was and who Edge was, making this match what it was.
Also, you can replicate it, but how many people are willing to throw themselves through?
Well, ECW did it, but it's more the fact that this was who the people were is why the spots mattered, not doing the spots.
It's also more character driven.
Yes, that's my point. It was about them rather than doing it. And Piper and Bret is Piper's best match by countries of miles. I didn't realise he actually had it in them because I don't think Piper's the best worker. Bret obviously is a great worker. They bladed when they weren't allowed to blade, but Bret's a great blader under... What? What do you mean a bladed? What do you mean? And it was really, really well done. I like the story of will Piper do a heel thing? 'Cause he's a heel guy and he doesn't, and it, in the end kind of costs him the match. But Edge and Foley?
Edge and Foley.
Edge and Foley is going through. Stone Cold versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 14, and Brock Roman with Seth Cashin at 31. 14's not a great Mania.
No, this is easy for me.
Yeah, it's pretty easy for me. Let's talk about Shawn and Stone Cold anyway. Fair play to Shawn. Walking like Frankenstein. His back is ruined. And it's a really good showpiece match, and it does put Austin over strong. Well done for Shawn, because I don't think he really wanted to do that. There's the story of the Undertaker in the back.
Oh, taping his fist.
Taping his fist. Who knows?
That's after you get punched by Mike Tyson, by the way.
Of course.
Enjoy
So how true that is, I don't know. But Brock Roman, I think, is quite comfortably better than this match. I would love to have seen a Stone Cold Steve Austin of...
before he broke his neck.
And a Shawn Michaels before he'd done his back.
Yeah.
And it's really sad that we didn't get that match properly. It would have been really, really good. Even an Austin after he's broke his neck versus a Shawn of 2002 would have been a really, really good one. And we nearly could have had that, you know. Shawn came back in 2002, Austin was in 2003. They were there, so it's a shame that they didn't. So, but yeah, I think it's quite cut and shut. The WrestleMania 31, Brock and Roman with Seth Cashin is going through. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes from WrestleMania 40 versus Stone Cold and Bret Hart from WrestleMania 13.
Oh, that could be a semi-final.
That could be a final.
Yeah, that's really hard.
Okay.
Oh, God. Where's your thoughts?
Now, if we're going to use a lot of the criteria we've done, you can't replicate Stone Cold and Bret. You couldn't replicate that. But the Roman and Cody is 4 years of story, and 1 year specifically with those guys of story, with one of the greatest. I'm going to throw this out there. The end of WrestleMania 40's main event is the greatest, like, culmination of a match at WrestleMania, because it's just so much fun. And people go, oh, these people, that makes no sense that John Cena's turning up. Yes, it does.
It does massively.
He's part of the bloodline. He just did in Solo Sikoa. And he's also connected to The Rock as
Yeah,
well.
I don't think Undertaker coming out made sense, but I still
It doesn't make sense.
You can still just switch off and go, this is also amazing.
You can connect it because he has a history with The Rock and he has a history with Roman Reigns, but clearly that was meant to be the Stone Cold.
Yeah, but it can still go, it's awesome.
But it was so much fun.
Just sit back and enjoy the wrestling.
But I'm going to tell you this now.
Go on.
I believe their match at 39 is better. And if you take this 5 minutes out at the back, it's okay. It's good. It's a good match. 39's way better as a match. 40 has just the greatest spectacle of all time. Plus, it's the Daniel Bryan moment of the Benoit moments, is, of the culmination of the champion. It doesn't touch Austin and Brett to me. Austin and Brett at 13 with greatest double turn. They'd already kind of turned, but let's give them benefit of the doubt. Austin's, everyone remembers the spot, but the match is still brilliant. Austin doesn't have a submission move. Let's be honest.
It kind of makes it good though, because it makes it so hard for Austin to win psychologically.
Yeah. And the build-up, Austin eliminated Brett illegally after Austin had already been eliminated from the Rumble. And, Brett doing more heelish things and the crowd turning on him. Ken Shamrock's the referee as well. This match is special. Because let's be honest, WrestleMania 13 sucks. It's a bad Mania with a bad main event. This match is a shining star. It's Undertaker Triple H at WrestleMania 27. I have to pick Austin and Brett. I really do.
Yeah, I'll go with it. I feel bad.
Who would have thought that something that won our moment of 2024 doesn't even get past the first round?
And Stephanie McMahon did.
There you go. Austin and Brett definitely going through. Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 12 in the Iron Man. Batista and The Undertaker. It's Batista and The Undertaker, Sam.
Batista and The Undertaker.
Good. I don't want to talk about the Iron Man. It's the most boring match alive. The fact that it's the only match that can go through at WrestleMania 12. We nearly put through the parking lot. The what was it? Hollywood Brawl.
Goldust and Piper. Yeah.
We nearly put that through. That's how much we hate.
I like this match more than you, but I'm still saying Batista.
I genuinely haven't completed it in one sitting.
Well, I mean that's hard. Actually.
It's so boring. Why do an Iron Man and not have anyone win any falls?
Agreed. We're not going to talk.
I don't
who
mind.
said we were going to talk about this?
By the way, no. My point is that I don't mind that actually happening in an Iron Man in general.
Yeah.
But it was the first one.
Yeah.
So do Iron Man stuff. Don't just have an hour-long match and then go into sudden death anyway. Because neither of you wanted to pin each other.
You could have done that whole gimmick without it being an Iron Man and gone, oh, if someone wins, they win, and then go, oh, time limit draw, let's go into overtime.
They literally could have done the exact same thing, but without an Iron Man. Yeah. But they couldn't fill the time.
Yeah.
They could not fill the time. Shawn wasn't good enough yet to fill that time.
The thing is, if you've got the match and it's gone 40 minutes, you have the suspension of thinking it could end now.
Yeah.
But with the Iron Man, it takes away that. So, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
And unless you're building that Iron Man really well, without someone being behind and they're running out of time to catch up maybe or something like that, Iron Man's a very difficult match to do. When they get it right, it's amazing. When you don't get it right, it's very dull. And this is the dullest of the dull. So, yeah, Undertaker and Batista, the beast of a match, is definitely better than this Iron Man. Come at me if you like this match. A better match with Bret Hart versus Owen at WrestleMania 10 and Undertaker and CM Punk at WrestleMania 29. The bottom half is coming in strong, Sam. You forgot about these matches, didn't you? You had Undertaker, Shawn Michaels and Undertaker Triple H flying around your head because they're all your favourites. And then suddenly, these behemoths turn up.
I wouldn't say Taker Triple H is on the level of these. I'm backing Taker and Punk for this. You don't.
I love the Undertaker Punk match. I really, really, really do. And it's one of Punk's best matches, which is amazing for someone who clearly is checked out in his head.
And physically done.
And he's physically broken anyway. He's had to take months off, doesn't he? Owen and Bret is just a perfect example of wrestling. It was just wrestling with one of the best storylines going in. Owen just getting jealous and they come back together and then he kicks his leg out of his leg. And then, Bret wins the title at that night as well. I have to admit, Sam, these are so even for me, and you have to look at them from two different ways. One is about spectacle. Okay? I also hated the storyline with Punk. I didn't like it. I found it really offensive and I didn't enjoy it. I know Paul Bearer gave him a say so.
And if he would have liked it, then
I agree, but it still doesn't mean other people can't be uncomfortable. And I didn't like it. Because also, wasn't the pretend heart attack during this spell as well? Did that happen too? Because Paul Heyman's with him.
That's about Jerry Lawler. I don't think it is. I think
It's
that's
not
2012.
Is that
I think,
2012?
Yeah.
But Owen and Brett for me is and I don't like Brett. You know I don't like Brett
I'm
as well.
very surprised.
But for me personally, I have to admit, I think Owen and Brett is the perfect example of how to cultivate a true wrestling match in terms of just pure wrestling. So I am picking Owen and Brett, Sam. It's up to you. Pure wrestling I'm going on there.
I really like Brett and Owen, but I think I'm going to use my veto.
Okay, it's
I'm
fair
having
enough.
Punk and Taker go through. I think it's arguably Taker's third best match of the streak behind the Michaels matches.
I think it's comfortably agreed.
Yeah, and I think that's the level we're talking about.
Do you know what, actually, I would say it's joint third.
With
the thing it's going to be
that's gonna
taking
be
on.
against. Well, we'll get into that then.
Undertaker, CM Punk's going to go through. I think Brett and Owen have been harshly done by. If you want to go watch pure wrestling, and when people at AEW go, this is where the best wrestling. If you want to go watch wrestling, then go and watch that. Go and watch William Regal, because that is what I see as wrestling.
I'm not trying to sort that down. It personally, is world class.
Oh, honestly, they show how Matt and Jeff and all that lot, and the Jimmy and Jay. That's how you do it. The story is I'm better than you, and that's what worked. They didn't do fighting and brawling as much. They did, because obviously they hated each other, but they went, I'm better than you, I'm going to out-wrestle you. And Owen wins by out-wrestling Brett. Beautiful. Can't believe it's going out. Randy Savage and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat from WrestleMania 3. And Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 21. Let's talk about Savage and Steamboat. They literally went and showed people what future modern wrestling is. And they did it
template for it
about 15 years before they did it. They created the match outside the ring. They recreated it. They did the story with the neck. And it's just a wrestling masterclass of high spots and work rate and speed, not slow, bumping around, people on steroids type thing.
Wasn't it completely scripted from start to finish as well? Like choreographed,
yeah.
Like the entire... Was it Savage who did it?
Yes,
Savage.
But there's two things I'm going to say to this, though.
Go on.
Okay, first of all, Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels then did it better.
Of course.
Yeah, so they took the template for Angles and Shawn to take it to not even the next level, like they're like 3 or 4 levels above. And also, everyone forgets that George the Animal Steel is involved in the WrestleMania 3 match. Everyone forgets that. They just seem to ignore that this lumbering character on the outside who's an animal is actually one of the reasons it kind of ends it way it does. It's a bit messy, but we're going to say that Steamboat and Savage is a really good match. It is not as good as people think it is because wrestling has evolved and changed. But if you put your brain into what wrestling was like in 1986, this match is a match that could have been in wrestling in WCW in 2000, when they had just workers left, and WWE in 2002. This would have slotted in and you wouldn't have batted an eyelid at all. And this deserves more praise than I think any match in history. I really think this deserves the most praise because it is the pioneer of what wrestling should have been, rather than here's a slam, stand around, do a punch that I'm not allowed to do. They moved at speed without not selling either. It was excellent. But Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels, we'll talk about it way more, is going through. And our final match that we have to talk about is The Rock and Hogan at WrestleMania 18 versus Gunther, Drew, and Sheamus from WrestleMania 39. You cannot compare them. Technically, The Rock and Hogan might be the worst match on this list of 40. Technically, might be the worst match.
But that's not...
But is it the loudest match? Has it got the biggest reactions of any of the 40? I could argue that.
I think that's how you have to... And I want to pick Gunther and Sheamus and Drew, but I think crowd reaction is how you have to...
You fought so hard! You fought so hard for Drew and Gunther.
Oh God, I'm saying I want to pick them, and I did fight hard for them.
You fought so hard.
But I know, because you know what? I went into that sentence thinking I'm going to pick the triple threat, but actually...
It's got to be Rock Hogan.
I say, I rate a match. A match isn't just about the holds and the moves and all that. That's a very, very instrumental part of it.
Yeah.
But it's about what does the crowd do. Cena will tell you that. Any top star will tell you that. Are the crowd on the feet?
It's a theatre performance.
Yeah.
If your crowd are bored, even if you're doing amazing things,
Yeah.
You're
And
not-
they weren't bored in the triple threat. They were absolutely loving it.
No, we're talking about just Hogan.
Yeah,
generally.
yeah.
But here's the thing. Let's talk about that triple threat.
Mm.
I think the problem I have with the triple threat, and I mentioned it when we were doing the qualifications, is I think they'd had better matches in other places as well.
No, I get it.
And I
But
think
you
that
just
was
have
my
to look
trouble.
at this match and go,
Call the police.
yes, there's that.
Hard lemonade.
If Titus was on commentary for Rock and Hogan, would the other one be going through?
Yo, because if they called the police on Hogan, that actually might have been genuine.
Well,
So for me, I have to pick Hogan and Rock just because I think you cannot ignore what the crowd were doing.
And it's not just that. They changed the entire match on
They
the
really
fly
did, yeah.
to
Showed
incorporate
how
what the crowd
how
were doing.
smart the two actually are. On the
Yeah,
grand
exactly.
scheme of
As
things.
much as we give Hogan
But
stick and
can we talk
rightfully
about Gunther, Drew, and Sheamus beat the living tar out of each other? They did well to be here, by the way, because quite frankly, 39 is just 4 matches in particular we were arguing over, and they're all brilliant. Like we kind of just put Cody and Roman to the side because we thought we think, well, the Charlotte and Rhea is
Even though we
incredible,
put it above
and
the
the tag
WrestleMania
team.
40 match.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It was madness, absolute madness. 39 is one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. But we're going to go Rock Hogan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart.
I thought you might. We move into the 16 from the bottom half. It's the Firefly Funhouse versus Edge and Foley, Sam.
How do you pick that one?
I don't know.
I think I have to go Edge Foley.
I think so. Yes, but I love the Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah, and it deserves to get this far.
It's really good. It's
Even
really
for
entertaining.
them.
But I think if we're going to go match, I think you have to pick someone who's willing to go through fire
Yeah.
to put over somebody who should have been in the main event as the WWE champion in the first place.
Yeah.
Why wasn't it Edge and Cena?
Because Triple H.
Yeah, literally, Triple H could have done something else. Why wasn't it Edge and Cena? You could have even done Edge, Cena, and Triple H, to be honest.
Triple H, Mick Foley.
You could have taken... Well, no, but
Run
I
it
don't... No, I would have done the triple threat, to be honest. And that could have really worked. And he still could have put Cena over. And he could have protected Edge. But whatever. And he would have protected Cena from Triple H saying he's a rubbish wrestler.
Yeah.
And the crowd boo... Whatever. I think Edge and Foley does nip out the Firefly Funhouse here.
Yeah, same.
Brock, Roman with the cash-in from Seth, and Austin and Brett.
Oh.
I think it's time for Austin and Brett to take out one of the greatest endings to a WrestleMania of all time.
Yeah, having Brett and Austin win. Yeah.
I think Brett and Austin
I
do
agree,
win
I
here.
agree.
I love the Brock Roman that you love it more than I do. I think it's really good, but I think it's one of the ones where you said it was like a 5-star. I was like, it's like 3.5 because everyone was expecting a 2. So that's how I see it. So I don't think it's that good. I think especially if you watch it on rewatch, it's like, no, this is really, really good. But I think now you've watched it in hindsight, it doesn't have the rewatchability because I do think it has that shock of these guys are putting on performance because they had the tug of war. Oh, I'm sorry, am I boring?
Yeah, because you mentioned the tug of war immediately. I know that is the worst go home angle to a WrestleMania in history.
I think it's the worst go home to a pay per view before a pay per view, and I think Seth's cash-in is what takes it to the next level onto this list.
But Brett
But
and Austin.
I think Brett and Austin has to win here. I just think it has to. Batista and the Undertaker from WrestleMania 23, Undertaker and CM Punk in 29. Now I know already we're in 2 different camps.
Well, also, let's make it clear, I don't have veto power for Punk here.
Uh,
I just vetoed him 2 in a row. Once.
no, once in a row. Only once. You can veto.
Oh, can I veto again?
You
Okay.
can veto technically.
But I don't want to have to use that.
No.
Please use that.
Convince me.
Well, I'm not entirely convinced either way myself. I just think...
Do you know what? You were right. Undertaker's Shawn Michaels are the top 2 Undertaker. I think these 2 are like here. And you have to kind of go, I'm going to need a magnifying glass to see which one is slightly better than the other one. These are good, amazing matches. Now, does the Undertaker and Batista have the same problem as what I literally just said about Brock and Roman Reigns? Everyone was not expecting it to be as good as it is. Now, unlike that one, I think it has massive rewatchability comparison because the match is just awesome. It's just power. I didn't realise Batista had that much power as well. He flung the Undertaker around. Just flung him around. And then you got Undertaker and Punk. Now, here's where I've got Undertaker and Batista slightly above Undertaker and Punk. Okay? Here's where I've got it. Okay? And we're talking, thin hairs here. I think Undertaker and Punk did a lot of spots that have already been done in other Undertaker matches, such as, the counter of the tombstone and stuff. Outside of the sit-up in the Anaconda Vice, which I think is one of the best spots in the match. Undertaker and Batista, no other match in Undertaker's careers, outside of the tombstone reversal, replicates this because no one else is the size of Batista who can throw around the Undertaker.
Yes, however, what I will say is the urn spot as well.
Oh, yes, it's very, very, yes.
That was
yeah.
and then that was one of those things, for a moment, you thought, has he actually beaten him?
Oh yeah,
with
that's the thing. Is that that's the next thing I would say in an argument against Batista is I don't think many had Batista winning.
No.
And
I don't think there was a moment where you thought he was really going to.
Yeah, there was a Batista bomb that I think
It took a while to cover him.
That's the difference. Whereas I think now we're getting to the stage where people are going, "Are you gonna end the streak?"
And the streak at this point with Punk is a much bigger thing than it was when it was.
Well, as we talked about it in the video, that 21 is when it really kicked into gear, and then Mark Henry kind of meh, and then this match. But this is a match about the world title rather than the streak, which is the interesting thing about when Undertaker goes for a title. It's like. It's something else involved.
And you can say you didn't like the storyline, but it did give it a lot more personal stakes.
Great storyline in terms of building storyline.
No,
I don't like.
Yeah, but you can see that it gives a lot more personal stakes.
Whereas annoyingly, the storyline with the Undertaker Batista, they did that stupid. Oh, we're going to tag together because they made them tag against Shawn and John, and they both turned on each other because you knew they would. Admittedly, I wasn't expecting those two to do the turn first. Because they won the match at No Way Out or whatever pay-per-view it was beforehand. Because everyone was there going, well, Shawn and John Cena are having the problems. And it was Batista who turned on The Undertaker first. This is tight for me because I think one's got better story. I think one is a better match because one has better spots in it, but has been repeated so many times. One can't be replicated with an Undertaker match. This is, I think, the tightest one we've talked about. I think these really are either could be happy to go through. So, do you know what, Sam? I'm going to leave it up to you. I've thrown the case out. I'll take away your veto power. I personally think the Undertaker Batista was better, but we're talking better by like a gnat's wing.
It's all, and again, all of this is technically opinion, but this really is just taste, isn't it?
Yeah, this is taste. This one is taste. I don't think there's an objective better match because they're too contrasting as well. Even with the Undertaker in it.
Yes. I'm the same, Punk.
I'll give it for the Anaconda Vice sit-up spot. Because I think it's cool. Punk's face just like...
You don't have a moment like that in... Batista.
I think the biggest moment they had in there was probably the power slam through the tables, awesome. Which is like, oh my god. It's like people go, that's not a big spot. When you're 300 pounds, that's a huge spot. So yeah, we're going to have Undertaker and Punk going through. Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels versus Rock and Hogan. Rock and Hogan have now had their win for their moment. Yeah. Kurt and Shawn are going through.
100%.
We'll talk about Kurt and Shawn next, I assume. Yes. Kurt and Shawn from WrestleMania 21 are going through. You move into the quarterfinals of the bottom half of the draw. It's Edge and Mick Foley versus Steve Austin and Brett. I think we have to pick Austin and Brett.
It's Austin and Brett.
I prefer watching the Edge and Foley match.
Yeah, you like a bit of hardcore.
But that's my personal taste, as well as really liking Edge and really liking Foley, not liking Brett. I think the match has a little bit of slow moments in the Brett Austin match, but that's kind of the point. It's also how Brett works, let's be honest, unless he's wrestling Owen for some reason. But yeah, I think you can't put these two on the same level. No. I just don't think you can.
Brett's
even if you're a massive Edge fan, which me and you both are, you more than me, and if you're a massive Foley fan, me more than you, I don't think you can say it really. Austin and Brett is going through. Undertaker and Punk versus Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels. 29 versus 21.
This is where my backing of Punk and Taker ends.
Yes. We'll talk about Kurt Angle and Shawn because we've got to this far and we haven't talked about it yet. That is the example of how you do storyline and storyline in match and flawless match.
It's what a gift that we got Prime Kurt Angle and Prime Shawn Michaels.
I'm glad they came together. They were there together for a long time. Shawn came back in 2002. This is 2005. They waited 2.5 years to get anywhere near each other. Ridiculous it took that long. But because it took that long, it made it even bigger. And they hadn't even got anywhere near each other. They barely discussed it. And it was just lightning in a bottle. I can talk you through this entire match. It starts off with Shawn out wrestling Angle and
making
Angle getting frustrated. The crowd are kind of quiet, but they're not. But you can tell it's not a we're bored. It's a I am watching, I'm engrossed. It's like kind of almost like a murmur noise.
Yeah.
Because they can see it, and then Kurt gets frustrated, slap, and then Kurt takes control with the kind of Angle slam into the post, and then they do they start doing moonsault flips on the outside, and then it just builds and builds to kickouts, which are before kickouts became a thing, so it was exciting at the time. Kurt Angle being a beast, a monster, the ankle lock, Shawn being the ankle lock for about 1,000 years.
It's the counters of the sweet music. He always catches it, and Angle catches it once, and he done it once.
And then, but that's when Shawn slowly got to his, after he hit him, and Angle kicked out, because Angle's the king of kicking out, at 2.78. Shawn just about getting to his feet, and then Angle doing the old no-sell, but the perfect no-sell, grab the ankle, bang, end of match after about 10 minutes of ankle lock. This match was phenomenal, but the story going into it. We talk about how I didn't like the taste of the storyline. No one doesn't like the storyline. They're on separate shows. And Kurt is going, I am better than Angle. I'm going to show him better Angle by doing all this. I win a ladder match against a jobber.
Better than Sean.
Better than Sean, sorry. Angle, I'm better than Sean. He wins a ladder match. He then beats Marty Jannetty. And Marty Jannetty is phenomenal. Gets a job because of it. And then Sherry, I'm just a sexy Kurt, goes into my Hall of Fame, attacks Sean. And then Sean, and then Angle, out of nowhere, attacks Sean on Raw. Brutally attacks him. And that suddenly turns this rivalry even further. And then obviously Sean hides as a cameraman and attacks Kurt. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And sadly, Punk Undertaker is great. Does not hold a candle to this. 100%. So going through to the semi-final is Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels from 21. We now have 4 of the greatest in one semi-final. It's Austin and Brett versus Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels. So your veto's gone. Your out of veto is now. Your semi-finals. Tell me, where does your brain go?
I'm on cloud 9 at the moment in terms of how to judge this. In my head, as we were putting that through, I thought to myself, I think Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels is my second favourite match of all time. And for that reason, because Brett and Austin aren't my number 1, I personally would be going towards Kurt and Shawn.
I personally think Kurt and Shawn beats this comfortably. The praise I'll give to Brett and Stone Cold is I think you can pick this up and put this on every single WrestleMania and it wouldn't look out of place.
Oh, never. No.
And I'm talking old as well, when it wasn't like that, and new when it's about high spots and work rate and running all that lot. I don't think it's without a place. It is a phenomenal match. It's a star-making match for Austin because he wasn't on that level yet. The fact, and both matches have the I won't give up spot, but the difference is Austin passing out is an amazing visual. Shawn taps, puts over Angle, huge. When was Shawn ever tap?
Not that I can remember. Did he tap for Cena?
I think he taps for Benoit.
No. You mean in Backlash? Not
I think he taps then. I think he might tap in the
Sharpshooter.
I think. And then I think he must tap to Cena at 23. So we're talking, he's only tapped once before to this. And I think that was to make Montreal happy. And I can't even remember if that's true or not.
I think it is.
I think it is. My brain's telling me it is. So yeah, we're going to go through it. For the final, Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle, WrestleMania 21 is going through. And we've reached our final, but before we get into the final, we want to hear from you. What do you think is the greatest WrestleMania match of all time? Are you disappointed that some didn't make it from the qualifier? Who do you think we shouldn't have had gone through? Who do you think has gone through? What do you think of our ones? Please tell us in the comments below. But we move into the final. So actually also let us know who you think should win between these two. It is Undertaker and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25 and Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 21. Sam, you've got complete freedom to talk without any say, technically, whatsoever. It's my say, I've got the big one.
So, I said mere moments ago that for me, Kurt and Shawn is my number 2. It is up against my number 1, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. You can say I was biased because I was 9 years old at the time and all that stuff. But
I was 13 for Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle.
Well, there you go. And that will obviously influence you as well. Both are fantastic. Both are worthy winners. But I think Shawn and Taker just goes another level for me. I think Shawn and Michaels has more physicality. But I think in terms of psychology and in terms of the technical side of things, I think Undertaker Michaels is
the technical side of things is beaten by Angle and Shawn. 100%. The technical side, you cannot use technical. Technical was completely destroyed in Angle Shawn. They literally do wrestling in it that's technically beautiful, and then they do storyline that's technically beautiful. You cannot say that.
I can and I have.
Yeah, so, I will disagree with that. That's fine. Bad argument because from a technical standpoint, Angle and Shawn.
I had the freedom to speak. Samuel.
You did. No, but you took an argument. I'm telling you that.
No, of course.
Angle and Shawn, from a technical standpoint,
both are pretty flawless. But I said. I think Taker and Michaels is paced a bit better. I think in Angle, Michaels should have some lengthy breaks, especially after Michaels does the moonsault. I've heard, because Kurt said this on a podcast, after he did it, because Michaels landed directly on him, Kurt couldn't get up for a while.
He was,
So they had to stop and stall for quite a while before Kurt could kind of get with it again.
The funny thing you say that, is just like the Undertaker botch, where they played the counter spot. This played into that match as well because they played into the ribs and they played into the legs and the struggle.
They
with it.
did. From what I
So
have
it's the same
seen,
principle.
I think Kurt took longer to recover than Taker did.
He was in actual pain.
No, I'm not criticising him.
Undertaker was fine because he was just in shock.
I'm not criticising anyone. It's just what you see on screen. I think it takes Kurt a little bit of time to get up to speed, and I think that takes a bit longer out of the match than the Taker Shawn one did. Personally, that is what I would argue. Again, we're arguing over hairs because they're both incredible. And I also think the finish of Taker Shawn's better. The moonsault into the tombstone.
I love that.
Perfect.
It's really, and it was so well done.
And they'd already done the skim the cat thing. I also think that it has the best kick out of Shawn kicking out of the tombstone. And I know Shawn kicks out of the angle slam off the top rope, which is incredible. But I think they sold the kick out of Shawn's kicking out of the tombstone a little bit better. Again, it's all fine margins, but that's what we're discussing. So that's what gives it to Taker Shawn for me. And again, the finish, I think, is hard to ignore. And in Taker Shawn, you've got the streak. This is more about Angle and Shawn, who's the better man. Part of it's brand supremacy, but not really. But it's like, who's the better man? This is the streak.
What about storyline going in? Because Angle's storyline is considerably better and plays into the match.
I can understand
Whereas
that.
Undertaker, Shawn Michaels have to play up how good the match is to get the crowd. The crowd were kind of struggling anyway.
Well, it was a bad Mania.
Yeah, whereas the crowd here, they were all on their feet. They were ready to go.
Agreed.
For me, I still think Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels is the better match. And here is my main reason why. As a fan who's a bit of a mark, I can kind of predict what's going to happen quite a lot of the time.
With Taker Shawn.
No, in general. You know, they're going, well, he's going to move out the way, he's going to do that. And it takes a lot to be like, oh my God. When I watched Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, I found a lot of it, not necessarily predictable, but I could predict it because they were so perfect that it was almost like I knew where it was going to go. What makes Kurt Angle so special is because he is legitimately one of the fastest wrestlers there has ever been. And the fact that he could brawl and the fact that he could do technical wrestling and high flying. I was never really sure how his matches were going to play. Every match felt different. And this match with Shawn having the Shawn Michaels just as the Shawn Michaels and the Undertaker did. Because I think the Undertaker's the same. I think he had a lot of paint by numbers matches. And then he started kind of replicating this match pretty much with everybody else who could do it. Let's be honest here. I think the fact that I couldn't quite tell where it was going. And if I'm being perfectly honest, and this is the big one for me, I think this is what sways it me in the other way. I do think Shawn Michaels Undertaker is the better finish. By a mile. I actually do that. I think someone staying in a submission for ages is a fantastic finish, a really enjoyable one. But it's a repeatable finish you can do, as we did with WrestleMania 13. Whereas the moonsault into a tombstone, you can only do it with those two wrestlers because that's their move and stuff like that. The difference for me between these two is I knew Undertaker was beating Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25. I think pretty much by this point we went, the streak's not going, but I don't think it's going to Shawn Michaels. They made us believe. I will give you that. They made us believe. In the same way that 26 is even worse. You know Shawn Michaels retiring. So you're just waiting for that one. So that one more so you knew was going to win. But this one, I would say you were like 99.5% sure. Angle and Michaels, no idea. And that's what led to the excitement because it really was something. And we'd seen Undertaker and Michaels before. We hadn't seen this before. And they went to another level. And I genuinely think that this should be knocked off the pedestal because I think it gets talked about a lot because it's those two and they steal an amazingly poor WrestleMania, whereas these guys are on a really good and memorable WrestleMania and a lot of matches, get talked about and stuff. So for me, the fact that this shone on that WrestleMania and they nailed it, I would love to see in a triple threat.
Oh, I was literally thinking
I'd love to see in a triple threat. I am going to go big and bold. I'm actually saying it, and I do believe it. And I think you go watch them side by side and give us your opinion, because I do want to know. But I believe the greatest WrestleMania match of all time is Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 21. I've decided it. I've done it. It's there, Sam. I love both matches.
I am upset with you.
I love both matches. I really do think that match, I've watched it back so many times and it holds up so well.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't believe how well it holds up because you wouldn't think it would.
I think that was, regardless, for me, that was the right final.
That's the final. They're the best two. I'm glad that Brett and Austin got as far as they did, and I think TLC too. I think that was the main four. I do think Undertaker and Shawn Michaels is like 5th or 6th personally on that list, even though it has a better story. But I'm going with it, and we've decided. So what do you think? Please let us know in the comments below. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for us. Please don't forget to go and follow us on Twitter, X. Go follow us on Blue Sky, as well as follow us on TikTok. And do you know what? We want to hear from you. We really do. This is a big one for WrestleMania season. I hope you've enjoyed WrestleMania or going to enjoy WrestleMania, depending on when I have this video come out. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.